Okay, I was wondering if we were going to talk about that.
Yeah,
are we going to talk about that?
Yeah, well,
We
we'll do it
have to.
professionally.
We have to.
Oh,
That's literally been what the criticism has been, is that the media won't talk about it.
Should we do it now?
You
Yeah.
go get into it.
Because we waited so long.
Yeah. And out of definite respect, when I do edit this, I'm going to record before the cold open of a content and trigger warning, because this is a really fucked up story.
Incredibly.
And you know, it seems like with it being a civil case, there's very little information that's coming out about it in terms of names, or all we know is an accuser or an accused.
An alleged accused, yeah.
An alleged accused who has been charged, is a registered sex offender for other things in Michigan, I believe in 2013. But the accused is former video coach Brad Aldrich. And today it was announced by the NHL, or by the Blackhawks, by their CEO, that the Blackhawks are conducting an independent review of the sexual assault allegations, who I believe
dating back to 2010.
Yeah, so this happened. The claims came to light in 2010, where two players went to. It was an open secret, is kind of what Danny Carcillo said, who was on the Flyers that played against the Blackhawks. And these two players did what they what God bless them for having the courage. They went and they complained to a skills coach who was Paul Vincent. And it was during the Western Conference final in San Jose. And they went to Paul Vincent in May and they said, this is what's happened and something needs to be done about this. And Paul Vincent, being a good, genuine, honest, good-willed person, said, this is absolutely right. We need to tell the people above us that something really awful and disgusting has happened. And allegedly, when they went to higher ups, they said any kind of request an investigation, that was denied. And this was, former players on that team have gone to the Athletic and said, hey, this is a dirty secret that was well known, that everybody knew about it. And it affects a lot of people. It affects Stan Bowman. It affects Habs GM Marc Bergevin, who was assistant GM with the Blackhawks at the time. And it affects...
Can we talk about him? Because you've repeatedly right now just said it was an open secret. It was like a terrible secret, which means that it wasn't like confined within the walls of this organization. It had seeped out and a lot of people knew. No one said anything. I'm only ever hearing about it today. And for Marc Bergevin to be as closely connected to that team in his role at that time, to turn around like in the last week and just say, well, I wasn't aware. I wasn't in any meetings. Like, I cannot believe that.
What I hate that I bet you he's gone and said, is there a paper trail that could link me to this? And that's probably why he's gone on record in such a defiant way. But I mean, if the Philadelphia Flyers know about it because of chatter on warm up or around the United Center, everybody knew about this. And, in terms of, sexual misconduct and sexual assault allegations, everything, they're all horrible and disgusting. But to have a skills coach or a video coach preying on underage children is the most fucked up thing and most disgusting thing that you could do. And I hope that anybody that knew about this is punished and penalized, because I thought when Sheldon Kennedy came forward fucking almost 25 years ago that this was something that would not be tolerated in the NHL level. And apparently it's, well, we got a good team this year. We got things going. Let's not wreck things. And who was the crown jewel organization that the NHL promoted every outdoor game, every big time? Who was that dynasty? And it's the Chicago Blackhawks. And I hope that if these allegations are true, I hope the absolute worst happens to these people involved, because when it involves harboring and protecting a pedophile, fire everybody, fine them,
It's a
Do it.
gross
Do the worst.
story. And we're not, you talk about Sheldon County, but we're not that far removed from so many things. We're not that far removed from hazing on these teams. In fact, I was really impressed with how quickly Vancouver dealt with the situation from when the allegations became public to them removing their player and everything that sort of followed that. And we're not like, I don't know the details of it. We're not here to elaborate on those details, but just that time frame, as far as we are aware publicly. This incident in Chicago happened a decade ago, over a decade ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only coming to light publicly right now.
And the independent
and that 10 years, probably so many more people knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not only is it so many more people knew, but how many more people have been there that we don't know about have been hurt and affected by this?
Mhm.
You know, this is this insulary, we're going to deal with it in-house stuff. And before I talk more about it, I just want to really give a shout out to Katie Strang of The Athletic, who's been working on the story. She's also the reporter that worked on the Larry Nassar stuff, the gymnast coach. I think it was in the University of Michigan.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, and she's tackled so many incredibly difficult stories, and she's had such a strong will to get to the basis of truth, and she's one of the best journalists I've ever had the privilege of reading their work and following. To reiterate with like what you said, Ryan, this should, if it comes out at any point that management knew and they did nothing and they wanted to keep it quote unquote in-house, like they wanted to, it's kind of like a Vatican Church thing.
Yeah.
Where they just wanted to be like, okay, well, we're just going to move this person and get them help, and we're going to make sure the story doesn't come out. This needs to, from top to bottom of everyone involved, if it's John McDonough, Stan Bowman, and complete clean house, they can never be trusted in a NHL role or be a part of this game. It's that bad.
Can I ask, but did they not move Aldrich on and give him a reference?
They did.
Yeah. So that tells you something.
And I don't have the article in front of me, but I believe it was 2013 is when he was formally charged, and for preying on fucking children. Yeah. So like, you know what? Like this is the worst possible thing you could do. And you have genuine, and you would imagine that most people are like this Paul Vincent guy who would do the right thing and tell people. And man, like everybody has gone to bat saying like, yeah, he's he's not making this up. He is an honorable person that you can trust and believe.
Yeah.
And like, he did the right thing. And it's just anybody that did any effort to harbor or protect or keep this monster employed, or benefiting in any way. Quiet. If I found out ownership did it, they should have to sell the team. It's happened in the NBA for awful, terrible reasons. It can happen. It should happen in the NHL. And if we're at a point now where if it comes out, like, yeah, the book needs to be thrown at them, because this is the worst possible thing you could be doing.
There's a lot of change that needs to come with this particular organization.
Oh, yep. We can't sugarcoat it. The NHL has a myriad of problems with it, with its game and with its personnel and its people. It's not just the incident is not just alone to this. If we have to go back to concussion protocols, sexual abuse, racism, any of this stuff that is kept in-house, it has a myriad of issues it needs to address publicly, that it needs to purge publicly.
Where everybody else had their reckoning and changed their names and their logos.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and at a time, so the thing with the Chicago thing that I thought about it a little bit, and that's tough.
Mm-hmm.
Is that so? This happened 10 years ago, and the reason why the Aldrich stuff is public record.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm wrong about this, I apologize. But I'm from what I thought about it. So the unfortunate survivors, that the survivors that were minors at the time, had their parents come forward and press charges against him, which in you can have your parents do that as long as you're a minor, because they are your legal guardian and you're not of age to, they kind of hold that representation over you. Now, what happened with the Blackhawks is the players did not publicly go out with what happened. And in the mind of the Blackhawks were not in a position to come out and be the representative of those players without the players' consent.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in turn, the Blackhawks in their minds, instead of going and supporting these players and saying, we know this awful thing happened to you. We feel it's of utmost importance that we don't hide this,
Mm-hmm.
and being progressive, like, yeah, we look back at the Vancouver situation, and yes, it was a bit more public, and a survivor came forward and named Jake out in the public, and that's a bit easier because now they've actually done that. They've kind of put out, and they've put a name out, and they've explained their situation. The fact that the Blackhawks swept this under the rug, man, I can't even begin to think, like, that they thought in the back of their heads that they could just shift some pieces around and just
Mhm.
wait, and it'll blow over.
Yeah.
And like, I'll just to finish up, this is not the only story that is going to come out involving
Mm-mm.
something like this.
Mm-mm.
Everything, I hope, within all respect to other survivors and their stories, if they feel comfortable, that they need to come out and find the bravery and the stage to let the world know
Mm-hmm.
how deep this goes. And we need to have a fundamental audit, top to bottom, of what we want this league and what we want this sport to be. And again, it's not to just this league and sport, it's to the world, but we're a hockey podcast.
Mhm.
Just top to bottom, a complete personal audit. If you want to break up the boys club, if you want to take out the white patriarchy that is rampant in this sport, that no one else can do what they do, and they will hire their cousins and their sons and
Mm-hmm.
their nephews that worked at 7-Eleven, having no background and just keeping within this dome bubble. I hope more stories like this come out. I hope this bubble bursts.
Yeah.
I hope we realize that hockey is not just Canadians aren't the only ones that can
It's not
do this thing.
exclusive.
It's not exclusive to just this group. And if this group of individuals that for the last 100 years have been taking part in this generational family sport, if they are allowing this stuff to happen, they don't deserve the game of hockey. They
Yeah.
do not deserve this game, because this game can be so much more, not only beautiful, but safe and empowering
Well,
to other people.
That's the thing. Right now, everything that comes out of the NHL is really delayed. Anything that has to do with inclusivity or diversity is always a beat or two behind everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they have to they're passing it through lawyers, and they're saying, what's the PC thing to say? What's the PR spin thing to say? Instead of coming out and saying, yeah, what happened is awful, and yeah, this and that and this and that. Oh, they're just
It's performative.
it's very
Yeah.
performative, and it's calculated. It's just calculated. And yeah, we have not, like, we didn't learn from Sheldon Kennedy, we didn't learn from Theo Fleury, we didn't learn from all these things. We forget.
When are you going to learn?
When are you going to learn? When is it time to take the keys away from you?
Yeah.
When is it time to say you just no more? You strike 3, get out.
And I just think that I am optimistic that this is going to cause a tidal wave of changes and repercussions that are there's going to just be beneficial, and it's because of the worst reason imaginable that change happens, and it sucks. But I just hope everybody that did anything to protect this person is held accountable so much
100%.
because I don't have any. I got nothing. I got no time for pieces of shit that are protecting pedophiles.
I think I go even a step further. I think this needs to so these aren't two comparables, but they are comparables in the severity of the person's actions. When Adam Silver banned Donald Sterling a few years ago from the NBA and forced the sale of the team, Adam Silver, and this is why I love the NBA, is because they understand the moment and the gravitas of everything. They've put their investment into players and the community and culture, and they understand that that's what's going to grow their sport and their brand, and that their sport and brand is their players, and their players are people living in these communities that might not be the most represented, but they are supreme fans. When Adam Silver had the choice to deal out a punishment to Donald Sterling, he went the full maximum. There wasn't one single thing that he relented on. Lifetime ban, sale of the team, full fine.
But I think it's because the NBA doesn't fear. They're like, oh, like somebody else will buy in. The NHL is so fearful of upsetting an owner and losing money.
We can't find another billionaire that will buy a hockey team.
Exactly.
Let's just do our best to appease everybody. Put out a press release.
And that's why it's probably one of the worst run leagues for that reason.
It's awful.
Donald Sterling was also a 150-year-old racist piece of shit that got
what he deserved.
He got what he deserved, and he was recorded being racist. An example
for sure.
of how
for sure. Yeah.
And we're not comparing apples to pomegranates here, but you are going to prove that some organization in a league were protecting a pedophile? No.
Who's the player for the Rangers?
Tony D'Angelo.
Thank you. There was even talk about letting him back in the league, and he's just a player.
Yeah, no, there's talks about.
There aren't consequences because the NHL is so precariously balancing things.
Yeah.
And sorry, but I look back at a community like Clarissa's community on Twitter, where it's so broad in terms of gender and race and fans of the sport, that they're younger than us. They're the upcoming wave, that they're looking at this league. They're looking at this league and these owners and the people that are running this entire show. I'm like, this is not a space in which you're gonna thrive. This is not a place where it's inviting and welcoming and it's gonna make sure that any person is going to be able to succeed and any person is going to be able to be the best version of themselves. It just doesn't. The NHL just does not match up with where the world is heading.
Yeah.
No.
It doesn't match up with where the world is heading, and it
doesn't even reflect the world now.
Absolutely not.
Or the communities, it doesn't reflect the fans.
Evander Kane.
I can't look at the players on the ice and be like, I see myself in that.
Evander Kane, it comes out and it's declared he files for bankruptcy. How many hit pieces? How many podcasts talked about how did this guy spend all his money? Blah blah this, blah blah that.
Can I make a comparison?
Insane.
The same thing wasn't said when Jack Johnson's parents took advantage of him.
Exactly.
And that was a sad piece, and every
Yeah.
bit of money that he was making afterwards, paying a lot of it to the IRS because he was screwed over. That was a redemption song. But Evander Kane, what a flashy doofus that
What a
doesn't know how to.
flashy idiot. He doesn't know
Mhm.
how to do this. He's probably
Mhm.
spending all his money in Vegas or whatever. Maybe he's
Right.
taking care of his family. Maybe does he have a big entourage? Yeah, maybe those are friends. Maybe those are friends that he has that come from next to no means.
Yeah, you don't.
Maybe he feels an obligation. Like if as an Iranian person, if I was making that much money, I have an obligation to take care of everyone around me because we came
Right.
from nothing. And when you have nothing
Yeah.
and you get something, you know what it feels and how important it is to share that piece of something that you have. Because
Mhm.
the feeling of having nothing is awful. It's paralyzing.
And,
But to
Right.
people, they can't fathom that someone with a lot of money might give it away or might spend it on other people and might, financially forget to think about themselves. At the end.
yeah, a lot of athletes do, but you don't see the amount of coverage and the amount of hit
Mm-mm.
pieces that you did for Evander Kane.
Yeah.